What if I told you that the world's most fearless athlete was actually terrified of one thing? And what if that very fear led to the moment that changed everything? January 26th, 2020, 9:47 a.m. In exactly 32 seconds, the sports world would lose its greatest icon. But this isn't just a story about a crash. This is about the 24 seconds that defined a legend, and the 24 years that built an empire. A foggy Sunday morning settled over Los Angeles, but this wasn't just any fog. Pilots called it a marine layer, so thick that even the LAPD grounded their helicopters. Yet one pilot decided to fly anyway. Why? What did he know that others didn't? Or what didn't he know that would cost 9 lives? The helicopter's final transmission lasted just 4 words. 4 words that would haunt investigators for months. But before we reveal what those words were, let me tell you about the boy who almost never became Kobe Bryant. Born in 1978, most people know he lived in Italy as a child. But here's what they don't know. Young Kobe spoke fluent Italian before he mastered English, and he almost chose soccer over basketball. Imagine a world where the Mamba never existed. But fate had other plans. At 17, he made a decision that shocked the basketball world. Straight from high school to the NBA, only the 6th player in history to make this leap. The Charlotte Hornets drafted him 13th overall, but here's the twist. He refused to play for them. The trade to the Lakers wasn't just luck, it was calculated. But what you didn't know is that Kobe almost quit basketball in his 2nd year. Why? The pressure, the criticism, the doubt. It was crushing a teenager who thought he was ready for anything. Then came 2006. One game, one night, one performance that would silence every critic forever. 81 points against the Toronto Raptors, the 2nd highest single game scoring performance in NBA history. But here's the shocking part. Kobe almost didn't play that night. He was battling flu-like symptoms and nearly asked to sit out. One decision, one game, one legendary night that almost never happened. But what created the Mamba mentality? The answer might surprise you. It wasn't success that forged Kobe's legendary mindset. It was failure. The 2004 NBA Finals. The Lakers, led by Kobe and Shaq, were supposed to dominate. Instead, they lost to the Detroit Pistons in 5 games. Kobe shot just 38% from the field. The criticism was brutal. The media called him selfish. Teammates questioned his leadership. That summer, Shaq was traded. The dynasty was over. Kobe was alone. And that's when something inside him snapped. Not broke, snapped into place. He started waking up at 4 a.m., training for 6 hours before his teammates even arrived. He studied game film like a PhD student studying for finals. This obsession, this relentless pursuit of perfection, this was the birth of the Mamba mentality. But here's what most people don't know. The Mamba name came from a movie, Kill Bill, the deadly black mamba snake that strikes with precision and shows no mercy. Kobe didn't just adopt a nickname, he became a different person entirely. Behind the fierce competitor was a man transformed by fatherhood. When Gianna was born in 2006, something changed in Kobe. Teammates noticed it, coaches saw it. The man who once said he'd rather lose by 50 than lose by 1 started leaving practice early to coach his daughter's basketball games. Gianna wasn't just Kobe's daughter, she was his basketball soulmate. She had his competitive fire, his analytical mind, his refusal to back down. Kobe saw something in her that even he couldn't achieve, the potential to be better than him. "She's got a better shot than I ever had," he would tell friends. "And she's more coachable." But here's the heartbreaking truth. On January 26th, 2020, they weren't just going to a basketball game. They were going to Gianna's game, where Kobe would sit in the stands, not as a 5-time NBA champion, but as a proud father watching his daughter chase her own dreams. Now, about that helicopter. Most people think it was a luxury, a celebrity indulgence. They're wrong. Kobe started flying helicopters to solve a problem that every LA parent faces: traffic. The 405 freeway during rush hour could turn a 30-minute drive into a 3-hour nightmare. But there was another reason, one that makes January 26th even more tragic. Kobe was afraid of something. Not failure, not pressure, not the biggest stages in sports. He was afraid of car accidents. After seeing too many teammates hurt in crashes, after witnessing the unpredictability of LA traffic, he made a decision. He would fly above it all. The man who feared nothing on the basketball court had one fear that changed everything. Ara Zobayan had been Kobe's pilot for years. Over 1,250 hours of flight time, spotless safety record. The kind of pilot who other pilots looked up to. So when the weather turned bad on January 26th, when other helicopters were grounded, why did he choose to fly? The answer lies in those final 4 words I mentioned earlier. 9:06 a.m., takeoff from John Wayne Airport, perfect conditions. 9:15 a.m., first weather concerns reported. Zobayan requests flight following, essentially asking air traffic control to watch them more closely. 9:30 a.m., the helicopter circles for 15 minutes near Glendale, waiting for conditions to improve. Passengers are getting anxious. 9:42 a.m., Zobayan makes a crucial decision. He requests special VFR, permission to fly in conditions that would normally ground aircraft. 9:44 a.m., the last radio transmission. 4 words that haunt investigators. We're going up, we're going up. But they weren't going up. The helicopter was diving at 184 miles per hour toward a hillside in Calabasas. In Zobayan's mind, clouded by spatial disorientation, up was down and down was up. He was pulling back on the controls, thinking he was climbing to safety, but he was actually accelerating toward death. 9:45 a.m. Impact, 1,085 feet above sea level. The helicopter hit the ground with such force that the impact crater was 24 feet wide. Everyone died instantly. The world lost a legend in 24 seconds. The NTSB investigation lasted 13 months. What they found was shocking. This crash was 100% preventable. Not by better weather, not by a different route, but by a piece of equipment that cost less than Kobe's yearly helicopter budget. A terrain awareness warning system, TAWS. This system would have screamed warnings. Terrain, terrain, pull up. But the helicopter didn't have it. Why? Because the FAA didn't require it for this type of aircraft. A $35,000 device that could have saved 9 lives. But here's what's even more shocking. Zobayan had actually crashed a helicopter before. In 2001, he had an incident that was eerily similar. Spatial disorientation in poor weather. He survived that one. The lessons from that crash should have saved him on January 26th. The news broke at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Social media exploded. Not with rumors or speculation, but with disbelief. The first reports said 5 people had died in a helicopter crash in Calabasas. Kobe's name wasn't mentioned. But within minutes, as the truth emerged, the world stopped. LeBron James was on a plane when he found out. He cried. Michael Jordan, who rarely shows emotion, released a statement saying he lost a little brother. But it wasn't just celebrities. Construction workers stopped mid-job. Teachers paused their lessons. Emergency rooms reported people coming in with anxiety attacks. Within 24 hours, murals appeared in Los Angeles, London, Manila, Sao Paulo. Artists working through the night, painting tributes to a man who had inspired them from thousands of miles away. The Grammy Awards, scheduled for that evening, began with a tribute. The Super Bowl, 2 weeks later, included Kobe in its tribute. Sports had lost its greatest ambassador, but here's what Kobe would want you to know. His story didn't end on January 26th, 2020. It transformed. Every young athlete who wakes up at 5 a.m. to practice before school is channeling Mamba Mentality. Every father who patiently teaches his daughter to shoot a basketball is honoring Kobe and Gianna's bond. The Kobe Bryant Foundation didn't close after his death. It expanded. The Mamba Sports Academy continues to train the next generation. His production company, Granity Studios, still creates content that inspires. The man who won an Oscar for Dear Basketball proved that greatness knows no boundaries. And Gianna? Her jersey number was 2. Kobe's was 24. Together they were 224. A reminder that some bonds transcend even death. So the next time you face something impossible, something that seems too big, too scary, too overwhelming, remember the boy from Italy who almost quit basketball, who turned failure into fuel, who proved that legends aren't born, they're forged, one moment at a time. That's the Mamba mentality. That's the legacy. That's how a life, even one cut tragically short, becomes immortal. But Kobe's story is just one of the mysteries that left the world searching for answers. Because sometimes legends aren't lost on the court, but in the shadows. If you think this tragedy shook the world, wait until you hear the chilling case of Gareth Williams, the man found in a locked bag, a mystery that still haunts investigators to this day. Click on the screen now and step into another story that refuses to be forgotten.